Careful, that's go hot.
This doesn't seem like they're correct measurements to me. It seems like they're shorter.
They are.
Let's do that piece and then kind of eye measure how the arms will be.
Okay. You're the sculptor. You like it?
Yeah.
I'll set this up on the table, like this.
Yeah.
Now you figure out where you want her to be.
The primordial power is ever at play. She is creating, preserving, and destroying in play. The power is called Kali or Shakti, or Mother. You cannot lift a finger without the will of Mother. And as you take refuge in Mother, you begin to see her play. No longer good and evil, but it is all her play. And then you consider, you begin to feel and realize that you are an instrument in her hands.
Oh,
Lovely.
we have a little friend. Not on the album, not on the album.
Yeah, go away, Volya.
Yeah. not
Oh, she's not happy.
She wants her newspaper.
Yeah, she does. What are you doing?
I'm rebuilding these albums because they're all fallen apart. So I'm putting them together again into a new album and trying to preserve the pictures.
For even longer?
Yeah, so that they don't get ruined. Like this is an original print from 1948 of the first Kali. That was the first statue ever made at the Hollywood Temple. And see, she's inside the shrine, so she wasn't even that big. She was pretty small. See, look how beautiful she was.
It's definitely different.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, is that when they first started making the Kalis in the 40s and 50s, because they were local artists,
They didn't really know what was happening.
well, they weren't as traditional, so each artist kind of put their own spin on it, you know?
So the first one was blue, the
Yeah.
next one was black.
Every year was different, and they were very creative.
Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute Kali Kali Mahakali Kalike Papharini Dharma Kama Pradevi.
Swami Prabhavananda, who established the Vedanta Society of Southern California in 1929 or 1930, also established the worship of Kali here in the United States.
Kali Kali
It began sometime in the early 1940s, and the first pujas involved the worship of a picture of Kali. This went on for 4, 5, or 6 years. And at that time, Swami Prabhavananda had a vision of his guru, Swami Brahmananda, who asked him to perform the Kali Puja with a murti. And he remembered that there was a devotee in Hollywood who would be able to make a murti. So the first Kali Puja with a sculptured image was held in 1948, and that has been the tradition ever since.
So how many years is that?
82 and a half.
Yeah, crazy.
Mathematics rules.
So I've been making it for 12 years. This year is the 13th.
Wow.
And you've been there since the beginning. You would come and visit me when you were a baby, and then you became my little helper.
I would do the plaster, I would do painting. I would scrape edges,
Yeah.
whatever you want, basically. Paint the dog and snake. Why does Kali have a snake and dog with her?
Well, it's actually not a dog, it's a jackal. Jackals traditionally hang out in graveyards, and that's where Kali hangs out too. And so they follow her around while she carries the severed demon's heads and lick the blood.
Oh, that's disgusting.
But they're her pets too.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
The first major appearance of Kali occurs in the Devi Mahatmya, a text which was probably composed around the 5th or the 6th century of the Common Era, where she suddenly appears as one of the powers of the Divine Mother. And here she is asked to battle the demons Chanda and Munda.
Ambika, the mother, cried out angrily against those foes, and in wrath her face turned black as ink. From her scowling brow, Kali sprang forth, frightful of countenance and armed with a sword and noose. Her emaciated flesh appalling, her mouth gaping, her lolling tongue horrifying, her sunken eyes glowing red, she filled the 4 quarters of the sky with her roars.
Why is Shiva under Kali's feet, do you know?
Yeah, because when she was fighting the demons, it was probably the 38th millionth time. The gods got really scared this time and were like, Shiva, help us out, please. Just get her to stop. And he was like, I have an idea. He lays down in front of her, and when she steps on him, she notices that's my husband. And she sticks her tongue out in shame and stops.
Wow, what did I do? Like that tongue, pull the tongue out. Spiritual explanation is that Mother is teaching that you want to conquer the world, conquer life and its sufferings, then master the 3 gunas, the Sattvika quality, Rajasa quality and Tamasa quality. If one can transcend them, then the whole universe is conquered by them. That means he attains to the absolute bliss and absolute joy. So that is another explanation of that.
This is called Shiva and Shakti. What this represents philosophically is the totality of reality, the wholeness of consciousness. Without Shiva, Shakti would have no existence, and without Shakti, Shiva would have no expression. So this image of Kali standing upon the chest of Lord Shiva represents this totality of consciousness. It is that ever-present light, unchanging, that illuminates all experience. And yet it is also every change that takes place within consciousness to produce this world of our experience, this daydream in the mind of the divine.
Which brush do you want?
I'll take these. Yeah.
Those are good ones. All right, so here we go, Ma. She's gonna be black. First coat of black paint going on.
When you look at the night sky, you are gazing out into an infinite expanse of space. And so Kali's blackness represents her infinitude. She has 4 arms and 4 hands. The lower right hand is extended in what is called Varda Mudra. This is the gesture of boon giving. The upper right hand is held up in a gesture called Abhaya Mudra. This means do not be afraid. In her upper left hand, she wields a sword called Gyanakadga, the sword of knowledge. This is the ability to cut through all appearances, to separate what is real and lasting from what is impermanent and transitory. And finally, in her lower left hand, she holds the freshly severed head of a demon. And this represents the human ego, the human sense of individuality. Around her neck, she wears a garland of either severed heads or skulls. The 50 heads represent the 50 sounds of the Sanskrit alphabet. And so her garland of skulls is actually the alphabet of creation that the mother wears around her neck. So even when Kali is shown as being fierce, warlike, destructive, terrifying, it is always that she is destroying what stands in the way of our own spiritual realization. So if we put the message together, we have the Divine Mother who's saying, take refuge in me, ask of me what you will, be not afraid. And then with her sword of knowledge, she will sever every possible cause of fear. She will sever our separateness, our smallness of ego. And finally, with that having been vanquished, we enter into the fullness of union with her.
How'd you first find out about Kali?
I remember going to Vedanta Society when I was a teenager, because it was in Hollywood, and I grew up in Hollywood, so it was one of the places I went.
And you prayed to Kali like every day, just get me out of this.
Pretty much, yeah.
Look.
Oh, he's so cool. I love him. But like ever since I started making Ma, I feel like my entire year
is waiting up for that.
Yeah, like I feel like my entire year is about like doing all my activities, and then once the time gets closer to Kali Puja, I kind of have to plan my year around that and make sure that she gets made.
Valia's taking over my seat.
You want to come and help me paint?
While Kali may have this martial symbolism, we don't hold that in our mind. And we see this as our Divine Mother. And even your earthly mother, you know, even your earthly mother can be fierce. And who knows what she's done and what she's doing. But to a child, it's mother is your mother. It's an innocent approach.
It's called darshan. Darshan is when you see a deity, not with the logical eyes. You see the deity with your love eyes. And when you see the deity with your love eyes, your whole body feels, your whole body becomes eyes. Your being becomes eyes. It's no longer physical eyes where you say, oh, she's got this and she's got that. It's a different way of looking. I guess a mother looking at a baby, and it may be a horribly ugly baby, the mother wouldn't see it. The mother would see this beautiful child. This is the most precious, most beautiful thing. It's the love eyes.
One thing in all the stories of Kali, she's transformative. That's her essential nature, is transformation. Never a dull moment. Sometimes you wish you had a dull moment, but there's never a dull moment.
This one. So you're just doing it like that. When I first started making Kali, the first year that I made her, I was pregnant with your big brother. Alex, yeah. And he was born, and then a month later, he died. And I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't understand that type of grief and that type of pain. Because
So it was like Kali was telling you, teaching you a lesson or something like that.
yeah, I felt it was like, oh, you know, you talk about life, birth, life, death. This is all interesting ideas, but yeah, but when it actually happens to you, it's very intense. When Alex died, I felt like I was inside a Kali myth. Like I felt like I was right there on her graveyard, because everything in my life just looked like some sort of a myth.
Now it doesn't. I agree.
That's true. I do have you.
People who worship Ma are kind of in a fast lane to go to God because they are not afraid to embrace the whole story instead of just half the story. There is a story. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in the Panchavati, which is a holy grove in the Kali temple in Calcutta. And one day he was praying to Ma Kali, please show yourself to me. And then he sees this beautiful, beautiful woman come out of the Ganges. And she's very pregnant. And she's getting more and more pregnant as she comes out of the water. And when she comes out of the water, she gives birth to a beautiful baby boy. And as she takes up the baby boy, or cradles the baby boy, and nurses the baby boy, slowly she becomes a fierce form, and she starts devouring her own child. Ma showed the full cycle, because everything there is really Ma.
You're born, you live, you die.
It's harsh.
But it's the reality, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing, you can't get away from that.
Yeah, I guess.
So this is Kali's head necklace. It's very pretty. Because she may be a strong lady and she might have
Demons?
but she's still very beautiful and she likes her jewelry fancy.
The image, when it is created by the artist, is a beautiful image. But when it's infused with life, something happens, something extra happens. Now, in Hindu worship, the image becomes awakened when the priest, through a ritual, takes out his own consciousness and puts it into the image.
Puja means worship. Traditional Kali Puja, this comes from a group of scriptures, the tantras, in the form of a conversation between Shiva and the goddess. And the tantric scriptures are based upon the idea that there's a dynamic way of awakening consciousness, awakening divine consciousness. How do you make the one reality that's hidden obvious? How do we make it living? How do we make it so we can respond and we can relate to it, we can experience it? And so it's through a mystical process we, as if, project her from within our own heart into an external image. Either a statue or a yantra or a painting or a fire or a pot of water or a stone. Even a mental image can be done according to the temperament of the worshipper.
Once it's awakened, ritually awakened, you treat the image as a person. You bathe the image, you feed the image, you put the image to bed, you awaken the image in the morning. It becomes the center of the household, is around the image. So when you create an image, it's the love that brings it alive.
We have faith. This is God. This is a symbol of God, a portal to God, a way of contacting God. And because of that, it becomes that. That's the whole mystery.
I attended my first Kali Puja in 1967, and I remember walking up to the temple. It was an October night, and I got to the temple, and the whole temple was decorated with red lights. The dome was outlined in red lights, and every one of the windows was outlined with lights. Inside the temple, the whole shrine was lit up, and here was this magnificent image of Kali. It was a particularly dynamic image that year. It was fairly small, probably no more than 2.5 feet tall. The color was that of a patinaed bronze, sort of a bluish color. The whole puja was absolutely entrancing. The ritual, all of the lights, the candles, the incense, it just made your hair stand on end. And of course, this was around 3 in the morning, and it was just an otherworldly experience. There had been devotional songs during the evening also, too, which just were capable of transporting you. The black bee of my mind is drawn in utter delight to the blue lotus flower of Mother Shyama's feet. Black is made one with black. That much of the mystery my mind comprehends.
Black is the beat of my mind. Black are the feet of Kali divine, merging, blending black with black. My dark, beautiful Mother divine, my dark, beautiful Kali divine.
I want to show you something.
Oh, she's beautiful. Oh, Uma, oh, she's gorgeous. Let me see. Ma will show. Ma will see. She is gorgeous. Look at her. So beautiful. Now, Ma 독신의
I know. Ma meeting Ma. Hi, Ma.
विद्महे श्मशानवासिन्यै धीमहि तन्नो घोरे प्रचोदयात्। ॐ कालिकायै विद्महे श्मशानवासिन्यै धीमहि तन्नो घोरे प्रचोदयात्। ॐ कालिकायै विद्महे श्मशानवासिन्यै धीमहि तन्नो घोरे प्रचोदयात्।
The whole cosmic universe has been created by Mother. That it is Shakti. The whole universe is Shakti. It is a power. It is the energy. Sun, moon, stars, to the human being, to animals, plants, everything is Mother. Because Mother manifested herself. It is she, the power of the whole universe. So this is the significance. Mother can give you worldly prosperity, name, fame, power, kingship. At the same time, Mother can release you from all bondage, give you eternal liberation. That is the uniqueness of Mother worship.
There is this profound sense of connectedness between the creator of the sculpture and the image itself. It must be wonderful to see the image in its full glory worshipped during the time of the puja, garlanded and anointed. But then afterwards, when the puja is over, it becomes very difficult for some of the people who've created the images to see them again consigned to the original source. This is all part of that whole cycle, because life is all about that. It is about coming into existence, being sustained, and again dissolving. And the totality of that is what is the real permanence. That never dies. So there's a very good lesson here in attachment, looking at the impermanence of things, even the impermanence of our ideas of divinity. Because once we realize divinity in itself, we realize and understand and have the experience of the fullness of consciousness. And anything less than that, any conception we have of what God is, what the divine is, what Kali is, even that melts away into what she truly is. And that is something of which we can never speak.
Already starting, Mom?
Yeah, I'm doing the hands right now.
Cool.
That was quick, huh?
Well, we do have a ceremony of starting it when the Dodgers season starts.
That's true. Every time the Dodgers season starts, I start
Started
off.
today!
Every year, it's the same thing.
Creating a Kali image is a profound responsibility. It involves meditating enough upon the Divine Mother and internalizing that presence of Kali so that it can be conceptualized fully within oneself and then transferred into a material medium. So the image that you have created is, in essence, a creature of your own birth. The artist, the sculptor who makes the Kali image then is externalizing in the image something that has been nurtured and created and imagined within.
Everything is mother. Mother in the water, mother in the plant, mother in the tree, mother in health, mother in sickness, mother in pain, mother in pleasure. This divine Maya. Anandat iva kallimani bhutani jayante. From joy springs this universe. In joy dwells this universe. Unto that joy goes back this universe.
Look, there's next year's Kali. Jaima.